So number 7 and 8 are pretty simple. This is now choose the intensity and the volume. In terms of progression through a week, the rule of thumb we say for intensity is something around 3% per week. All right. For volume, it will depend on what you're doing a little bit, but anytime you cross more than 10% per week, you're going to start running into problems. So I like 5% better. It doesn't need to be as low as 3. You can jump up much more than that. 5 to 7% is better. So if you are doing, say, running, because the numbers make it easy, and you're doing 10 miles per week total, and if you were to go up to 11 miles the next week, great, you're right around 10%. But what you wouldn't want to do is say, I'm running 10 miles this week, and I did maybe 4 Monday, 3 Wednesday, 3 Friday. So 4, 3, and 3, you got your 10. Then you wouldn't want to add a mile every day. So Monday, instead of doing 4, I did 5. Wednesday, instead of doing 3, I did 4. Friday, instead of doing 3, I did 4. What you actually did is you went from 10 to 13, which is a much higher percent jump than the 10% prescribed. So the same thing would be true for lifting weights. The same thing is actually true for calories and if you're trying to add them, etc. So the body tends to not handle those things as well, jumping more than 10% per week.
So keeping with this idea of increasing progressive overload, being 10% more over some period of time, am I correct in assuming that I want to identify 1, maybe 2 meaningful variables and progressing that or those variables?
So progressive overload can come in the form of any of the modifiable variables. So you could increase the complexity of the movement. You could increase the intensity or the load. You could increase the volume by either more sets, more reps, or more total exercises in a day.
What about time under tension?
You could also manipulate how the tempo of each repetition. You could also manipulate how many times per day you train. So you can manipulate frequency. You can also manipulate rest intervals. So you can progressively load any of these things. Increase intensity. Run a little bit faster. Complete the same amount of work slightly faster. Put 5% more on the barbell or the load or the handle or whatever you're going to do. That's a simple way. If you want to think about volume, in the case of endurance work, it's simple. Mileage, time, whatever. In the case of lifting, all you have to do is take the amount of repetitions you're doing per set, multiply it by the sets, add that all up. So if you're doing 3 sets of 10, that's 30 repetitions. If you did 3 exercises, you just did 90 repetitions. Put that number down for Monday, put that number down for Wednesday, put that number down for Friday. Add that total up. So say you did 90, 90, 90. You would look and say, my total number of repetitions this week is 270. If I want to go up 5%, then I need to go up another 15 or so total repetitions. Great, that's all we have to do. That's the increase. You may keep the load exactly the same, keep the exercises the same, change nothing else, but you want to add 15 more total reps for your week. And you may choose to do that by adding 1 more repetition per set. Close enough. So last week I did 3 sets of 10. This week I'm going to 3 sets of 11. It can be as simple as that. Again, it can be complex. I walked you through. It can be any of the modifiable variables, but the progression I just laid out is fairly simple, and it's honestly the one I recommend for most people just because it will avoid confusion and it will avoid people taking massive leaps in volume. So the typical strategy I would recommend here is increasing load or intensity or a little bit of a combination slowly for about 6 or so weeks, and then taking what we generally call a deload. So back down to maybe 70%, whatever that number is you've been doing. So you did 3 sets of 10 and you worked yourself all the way up to 3 sets of 15. Back that down and maybe we'll do 2 sets of 8 for the week. And then we'll come back the following week and go back and do the highest we've done now. All of a sudden we're going to do 4 sets of 12 or something like that. So if you get these little deloads every, depending on what you're doing, 4 to 8 weeks or so, you should be in a spot where you can continually progress for a very long time without either burning out or overloading and overstressing an injury pattern. So the simple way, pick intensity or volume and just go up slightly every week for a short span of time, generally around 6 weeks. And then you can come back and change your strategy if you like.